Close the doors, the Muay Thai champion said, loud enough for the room to obey. If this is just a show, let it be seen by those already inside. Hands moved, wood slid against wood, and the sound cut off the outside crowd mid-shout. Sweat and breath filled the hall. Someone laughed nervously. Someone else whispered his name. The challenger stepped forward again. You invited questions. I asked one. Now we're here. Bruce Lee looked at the space, then at the man, and said, If we're here, speak carefully. Carefully? The challenger replied, smiling too quickly. I spoke clearly. Your methods look fast, but speed is not proof. Tradition is proof. Pressure is proof. You don't learn that from demonstrations. A few students shifted their weight. A witness later claimed the air felt heavier after that sentence, as if the room itself leaned in. Bruce answered, Demonstrations are not conclusions. The challenger waved that away. You hear that? He said to the room, always avoiding the point. If this ends with excuses, it ends now. If not, it ends another way. No one moved. The doors stayed closed. What follows was never meant to be verified. Those present later disagreed on what truly happened because nothing was written, signed, or announced. Stories say this moment hardened into something irreversible, not because of violence, but because of witness. You could still say no, the challenger pressed. You could say this is teaching, not fighting. That would be acceptable. Bruce shook his head once. Acceptable to whom? To everyone who knows what real fighting looks like, the challenger said, voice rising. You're standing in front of it. Bruce replied, Then stand. The challenger laughed, sharp and final. Good. Don't blink, because once this starts, stories won't save you, and silence won't either. You see the problem, the Muay Thai champion said, turning slowly so everyone could hear him, is that people clap before they understand what they're clapping for. A few laughed. Someone else nodded. The challenger continued without pause. They see speed. They see confidence. They mistake that for truth. But truth survives pressure. He pointed at the floor between them. This ground doesn't care about philosophy. It cares about what works. Bruce Lee did not respond. That silence, the challenger went on, is useful in movies. In gyms like this, it becomes a habit. Habits break. He smiled, then let it fade. I didn't come here to embarrass you. I came to ask if what you teach holds up when someone refuses to play along. Stories say the room leaned toward him as he spoke, because he spoke like a man used to agreement. Rules exist for a reason, he added. They sharpen fighters. They remove fantasy. When I hear you talk about freedom, I hear gaps, Bruce said quietly. Gaps are where learning happens. The challenger laughed, louder this time. There it is, always the riddle. You hear that? He asked the crowd. No answer, just language meant to feel deep. He stepped closer. I trained in places where talk ends quickly, where respect is earned by surviving rounds, not avoiding them. A witness later claimed this was when impatience surfaced, not in movement, but in rhythm. The challenger's words began to stack faster. You can still frame this as teaching, he said. Say it's not a challenge. Say I misunderstood. That would protect your image. Bruce looked at him and replied, Images don't need protection. The challenger's jaw tightened. That's easy to say when people protect it for you. He gestured at the watching students. They need to know what happens when ideas meet resistance. Bruce answered, They're watching already. Good, the challenger said. Then let them watch closely, because once this crosses a line, no explanation will soften it. And no one here will forget who asked the question first, and who refused to answer it today. Say something, the Muay Thai champion said, pacing a half step and stopping. Crowds trust voices. Silence makes them invent reasons. Bruce Lee stayed where he was. The challenger exhaled sharply. You hear that? He asked the room. Nothing. That's not confidence. That's avoidance. Bruce said, I'm listening. That's convenient, the challenger replied. Listening lets you delay. Delay lets people imagine depth. He glanced at the students. This is how myths start. Those present later said this was when the tone shifted, not louder, but thinner, as if each word needed to prove more than the last. I fought men who didn't pause, the challenger continued. They didn't wait for perfect moments. They took space and kept it. He stepped closer again. You keep standing like time belongs to you, Bruce answered. It does. A ripple moved through the room. The challenger smiled, then frowned. Hear that? He said. Short answers sound wise until pressure asks for more. He circled slightly. Explain it. Explain why you won't meet force with force, Bruce replied. Because force reveals itself. More riddles, the challenger snapped. When fists move, riddles disappear. He leaned in. You think restraint unsettles me. It doesn't. A witness later claimed the champion spoke faster after that, as if silence were an opponent. You don't look afraid, he said, but you don't look ready either. That worries your students, he pointed without touching. They need certainty, Bruce said. They need timing. The challenger laughed once. Timing fails when someone refuses to wait. He stopped moving. Say it plainly. Are you prepared to test this, or are you hiding behind calm? Bruce met his eyes. Prepared doesn't rush. The room held its breath. The challenger nodded slowly. Then we agree on one thing, he said. This won't be settled by words. He straightened. But don't mistake your stillness for control. When this turns, silence won't protect you, and patience won't slow me down. The challenger continued. You see it now, he said, gesturing around. Waiting makes people uncomfortable. They want release. They want proof, Bruce answered. Proof arrives. The challenger scoffed. We'll see. When motion replaces patience, you'll learn which of us time favors, he added. And when that happens, remember this silence you trusted. It will feel much louder when the room expects something you cannot give, especially when everyone is already leaning forward, waiting for impact, not explanations, anymore. Enough talking, the Muay Thai champion said, rolling his shoulders once. You've had time, now step closer. He moved first, not attacking, but narrowing space, forcing the room to shrink around them. This is where explanations stop, he added. You feel that? He tapped his own chest. That's pressure. You don't reason with it. Bruce shifted his feet slightly. He did not answer. The challenger noticed. There, he said quickly. You moved. Finally. He smiled, then caught himself breathing faster. You see, even stillness reacts. Stories later said his rhythm changed here, not in speed, but in urgency. Don't pretend this is calm, he continued. Calm doesn't adjust. Calm stands its ground. Bruce replied, Ground changes. The challenger scoffed. Always words after the fact. He stepped again, a fraction closer. You're waiting for something. That's what worries me. Bruce said nothing. That silence again, the challenger muttered. It worked before. It won't now. He gestured with his hands, sharper than before. When distance closes, timing collapses. A witness later claimed the spacing felt wrong, like furniture nudged out of place. The challenger shifted, then shifted back. You see, he said, catching the movement. You're not fixed either. He circled, then stopped abruptly. I thought you'd engage by now, Bruce answered. Engagement doesn't announce itself. The challenger laughed, but it sounded thin. You keep saying things that sound complete, he said, but they avoid the moment. He paused, then stepped forward too quickly, checked himself, and reset. This is simple. You either meet me, or you wait until waiting costs you. Bruce adjusted his stance a hand's width. There, the challenger said again, louder. That's hesitation. Bruce replied, Correction. The challenger shook his head. No, hesitation hides inside calm. He exhaled sharply. I don't like this pace. Another witness later claimed that sentence mattered more than anything else, he said. You think control means slowing things down? The challenger continued. Control is deciding when things break. He leaned in, and I decide that. Bruce said, Decisions reveal themselves. The challenger clenched his jaw. "You're doing this on purpose," he said, dragging time out so people mistake patience for dominance. He took a half step, then stopped. "I won't wait forever." Bruce looked at him. "No one is asking you to." The room tightened again. The challenger straightened, eyes narrowing. "Good," he said. "Then understand this. The longer you delay, the less room you'll have. And when this turns physical, don't pretend you didn't feel it slipping first, because I do." "Now," the Muay Thai champion said, voice tight, "now you stop waiting." He stepped in with intent, not full force, but enough to claim space. "This is where people see what's real," he added. "No more distance to hide inside." The room stilled. A witness later said even the floor seemed to listen. What follows was never meant to be verified. Those present later argued about angles, timing, and cause because the moment itself refused clarity and offered only effect. "You feel that?" the challenger said, circling once. "This is commitment. This is where systems prove themselves." He moved again. "Answer me." Bruce did not answer. "Answer me," the challenger repeated, sharper. "You've been borrowing silence. Now spend it." Stories say Bruce stepped forward as the challenger spoke, not into attack, not away from it, but through the space words had been filling. "You see," the challenger said quickly. "You chose." He raised his voice. "Good, because—" The challenger's breath left his body all at once, sharp and involuntary, as if the air had been removed rather than spent. Sound dropped out of the room. Some later claimed Bruce entered on timing alone. Others insisted it was a shift that turned pressure inward. No one agreed on how it happened, only that it did. The challenger staggered back half a step. "What?" He stopped, coughing once, then straightening too fast. "That was nothing," Bruce said quietly. "You rushed." "That didn't count," the challenger said, louder than necessary. "You caught me mid-word." He inhaled again, slower now. "That's not proof." A witness later said this was when certainty cracked, not visibly, but audibly. "You think one moment decides something?" the challenger went on. "You think a pause means control?" He shook his head. "I've taken worse." Bruce said nothing. "Say it," the challenger pressed. "Say what you think that was." Bruce replied, "Timing." The word landed and stayed. The challenger laughed, then stopped. "Timing doesn't empty lungs," he said. "Force does." He shifted his stance, testing it. "You got lucky." Stories differ here. Some say Bruce never moved again. Others say he adjusted once, barely. "You felt it," the challenger said, quieter. "Don't deny that." He swallowed. "That was weight, not philosophy." Bruce answered. "Weight arrives when invited." The challenger stared at him. "You're framing this," he said, turning a slip into a lesson. He stepped back, then forward, uncertain which was correct. "This isn't over." No one spoke, no one clapped. The challenger exhaled, slower now. "You think this settles something," he said. "It doesn't." He nodded once, as if to himself. "But I won't forget how quiet the room got. And I won't forget how fast that happened, especially when I was the one speaking." "That didn't prove anything," the Muay Thai champion said, breaking the quiet too quickly. People mistake surprise for outcome. A few heads turned. No one answered him. He laughed once. The sound clipped. "You see? Confusion. That's all this created." He wiped his hands on his shorts. If this were real, it wouldn't end in silence. Bruce Lee did not respond. He had already stepped back, posture loose, attention drifting away from the center of the room. "You're walking off like that means something," the challenger continued. "Like you've said enough." He shook his head. "That's convenient." Stories say this was when the room felt different, not relieved, not tense, but unsettled, as if the air had shifted and forgotten to return. A witness later claimed no one knew where to look. "I've been hit harder," the challenger said louder, "by men who didn't need timing to explain themselves." He smiled, then let it drop. This wasn't a finish. Bruce picked up his towel. "That's right," the challenger pressed. "No finish, no decision." He He gestured around. So don't turn this into something it wasn't. Bruce said, It already is. The challenger paused. What's that supposed to mean? Bruce replied, People decide. The challenger scoffed. People imagine. He took a breath. Steadier now. They'll say what they want. I can live with that. A witness later said his voice sounded flatter, as if each word had to travel farther to be heard. You didn't beat me, the challenger added, and I didn't lose. He nodded, trying to convince himself. We interrupted each other, that's all. Bruce adjusted his bag on his shoulder. Interruptions teach. The challenger frowned. You keep saying that, he said, as if meaning appears afterward. Bruce answered, It does. The challenger opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked around, noticing the eyes still on him. This room wanted certainty, he said finally. It didn't get it. Bruce moved toward the door. That's fine, the challenger said, forcing a smile. Let them talk. He straightened. Just remember who was willing to stand in the middle and speak. Bruce stopped, then continued walking. The challenger watched him go. Silence looks impressive when it leaves, he said. But it's harder to carry when people start asking what really happened. It didn't end, the Muay Thai champion told anyone who asked. People keep saying it did. It didn't. Others repeated different versions. Some said there was respect. Some said there was refusal. Some insisted nothing happened at all, only a misunderstanding inflated by attention. Stories say the hall emptied quietly, but the story did not. Bruce Lee did not comment publicly. When asked, he was said to smile or nod or change the subject, depending on who was listening. His silence became material. People shaped it. You can't call it a fight, the challenger said later. There was no result. He spoke often, correcting details before they settled. If something matters, it leaves evidence. Those present later disagreed. A witness claimed the evidence was not visible, only felt. Another dismissed that as imagination. In gyms and schools, the story bent to need. Some framed it as mutual restraint, others as philosophy tested. Many treated it as proof that loud systems break against quiet timing. No version agreed on facts, only on impact. It wasn't a victory, the challenger repeated, and it wasn't a lesson. Yet his words traveled with urgency. Bruce never contradicted him. What followed became debated, then symbolic. The encounter slipped free of the room and attached itself to meaning, not because it was resolved, but because it wasn't. The challenger's last word remained denial. Bruce's remained absence. And somewhere between those two, the story settled. Not as truth, but as a question people kept retelling afterward.